Here we go. Do you know this is our Christmas show? Is that why you're dressed that way?
I am. I actually wore this to the gym today. Got a lot of, strange looks, but... Yeah. What's Good with John and Joyce is sponsored by Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events Venue in Brantford, Connecticut, and Silvio's award-winning Italian sauces, which you can buy anytime online at silviosauces.com. That's silviosauces.com. Losing weight and getting healthy can feel so overwhelming. Not sure where to start? Changing habits is tough, and staying motivated isn't always easy. And that's where To Your Health comes in. They'll guide you step by step with individualized assessments, coaching, and support designed around you. It's all about helping you create your personalized plan to obtain that healthy, vibrant life you deserve. Check out their website to see all that they offer. ToYourHealth360.com. That's ToYourHealth360.com. TechFix provides expert repair services for laptops, desktops, home networks, and smart devices. Matthew Rader and his certified technicians are equipped to handle both hardware issues and software glitches, ensuring your devices are back in working order quickly and affordably. For more information, go to techfixct.com. That's techfixct.com, techfixct.com. Oh, by the way, welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce over this holiday season. There's so much good, so much to be grateful for. We're so grateful for you, tuning in, either listening, watching, doing a little bit of both. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. It's free, and share it with everybody you know. Or you can subscribe pretty much on any platform. iHeart, also Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts from.
We're all over the place, aren't we?
Yeah. And Joyce, we have a very, very special guest here today. A gentleman who's become a very, very dear friend of mine, and now he's a dear friend of yours, too.
Yes, he is.
We talked before the cameras were rolling. But just a gentleman who really, I think, illustrates and exemplifies what's so beautiful about this season and every time of year. I know this time of year people have a tendency to be a little bit more joyous, but also a little bit sadder, depending on their family situation.
It's a stressful time, too.
It is.
There could be money problems, like you want to buy gifts for everybody and all of that. But we want to bring the meaning of Christmas to the show.
And this gentleman does that ever
does.
since I found out that he opened up his home to people on Thanksgiving, and Christmas, on 4th of July, on Memorial Day, people that had no place to go, right? Opens up his house. That pretty much exemplifies everything that's good about the world. But what's good about this man? And he's doing God's work. And Steve, thank you so much for coming. Steve Carr, the Carr Man. And I love your props there that you brought in.
Yes.
Any special meaning to the props?
You told me to get into the holiday spirit. You already told me that you stole the Santa hat idea, so I was left unfortunately
with the hat off of you. You were wearing it.
Well, yeah, the crown of God. But it's no, it's every Christmas, the staple of the holiday Christmas, Hallmark. Mail roll movies. So I got my dog, I got my flannel shirt and my carpentry equipment. So, it was either this or, the tree farmer. And I didn't think that it would be enough to carry around a big tree,
There's your little Christmas
tree.
It is,
but that's, it could be the craft shop in my little warehouse or workhouse. So
women out there, anyone who watches Hallmark movies knows this story.
Oh, my wife's been starting to watch. She started watching the Hallmark movies back in the summer, like so many other people.
I do too.
And I walk in, and she just sees me kind of roll my eyes. And then what happens? I roll my eyes, Joyce and Steve, and I get into it.
Yeah.
I get every single time.
I know guys that watch the Hallmark movies, but you do personify that. You got the dog, you're a carpenter, she comes into your life. You used to know her back when, right?
I was saying earlier, it's like, I'm the kid in high school that only had one leg, but the other one grew in finally, and now I'm,
Now you're the hot farmer, or
well, I appreciate that. That might be a little above and beyond of a stretch, but I appreciate that one.
Well, Steve, tell us a little bit about your story. As people are tuning in to What's Good with John and Joyce, and what you were telling a little bit about. Kind of had a sheltered childhood growing up in a sense, and then you kind of found yourself. You went through some bumps, and along a winding road, as they say. And you got to where you are now. But what really impresses me about you is your heart, your compassion, your love for others. And you don't just say it, you live it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As far as the sheltered comment, I mean, I don't want to, no discredit to my family and stuff. I mean, they were protective. I was an adventurous older brother that maybe led a path to where my parents went, no, 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 no,
Right.
not this time, So it wasn't like you can't do this. It's just like, no, we know better. Shout out to,
Mom and Dad are awesome.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And my brother, too.
Yeah.
My God,
Okay.
he's my best friend. Yeah, God is the journey. And it's who I've wanted to be or who I've thought I wanted to be throughout my life. I didn't realize or understand the purpose of it. It's like I like throwing parties. I thought it was because I was a partier. Or I like to help people because I thought I just, made me feel better, less about myself, It wasn't until, I tried to really seek my purpose with God and God started talking to me, and I know this, probably something
when did that happen, though, Steve? Do you remember the time that it happened, or was it just
I
part of the
think-
journey? But any light bulb moment?
I think we always hear the voices. We just don't know which one it is because the devil can sound the same. I've learned the closer you get to God, the more you recognize his voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so how long I can remember as a kid, saying, oh, this is probably the right thing. And because it was the right thing, it was from God. And then as I got older, it's like, this feels like the right thing. And then I realized something very important. My plans suck. So usually that was the wrong voice that I was listening to. But more recently, probably the past 3 years, I've finally delve into the Bible. I had a Christian journey from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one thing that I could pass on is don't doubt the Bible.
All right.
It's if you want answers, they're there. And to be very clear, there are different types or translations of Bibles that are easier to read and understand.
Yeah.
And when something hits our ears softer, but it gives us the eagerness to learn more, that lesson was valuable. So if you read something that might be a translation of the word that you understand somewhat, you can seek more information from it, but it came from that initial seed of understanding. And that's only going to come from listening to the word. It changed my life. It started on a New Year's Eve resolution. I was done with New Year's resolutions. I failed. Again, my plan fails in everything. I was not losing.
What do they say? If you want to make a God laugh, tell him your plans, right?
Exactly. So I was at a party and everyone was like, oh, you got to have a New Year's resolution. I'm like, no, I'm done. And the person before me said, nope, not going to do it. And the host said, you don't leave this house, you don't come to the house next year unless you have a New Year's resolution this year. And I felt them scrambling, and in my head, I'm scrambling too. And it got to me, and I'm like, first thing that blurted out of my head was, I'm going to read the Bible this year.
Wow.
And
how'd that go over?
Well, it's funny, because there's mixed reactions. There's
Right.
people going,
Okay,
next, and what's your choice? You know what I mean? So they quickly moved on, but it fulfilled that need for that one point, that one purpose. And then the next morning I woke up and I'm like, I got another New Year's resolution, but this time it's different because it's a promise I made to God. Oh, I got to do this one.
Wow.
I got to do it. Here's the problem. I didn't own a Bible. The only rendition I could find online was King James, so it was like the hear this, thou, it's that with it. And I'm like, I can't do this 365 days a year. So I did a little research. I ordered on Amazon a chronological order of the Bible, and it was in I believe the New Living Testament or New Living Version, and kind of understood it. I was like, okay, this makes sense. Okay, I can do this. And that was 4 years ago. And I have made it my New Year's resolution every year since to read something about the Bible or a new version of it, or a new book, new translations, just because I'm so much of a better person with God.
Oh, that says it all. First of all, this is amazing because someone actually followed through on a resolution.
Yes.
And it was a transformative resolution. And I love that we're talking about that this is our Christmas show and Merry Christmas, but it's the birth of Christ. So this fits in so perfectly what we're talking about.
It's a rebirth of me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
What better gift? When you're the greatest gift.
The greatest
when
gift
you really
of
think about that.
Is faith.
And again, I mean, all the holiday parties and the time with the family and going to the tree lightings and all that. That's a lot of fun.
Right.
And the Christmas party for the business. But as I get older too, and more into the Word, Joyce, we talked about this. I just want to learn more and more about my Heavenly Dad. I want to learn. I want to become a better person.
It's what triggered into hosting or opening my home, because now hearing God told me, open your doors. And I'm like, okay, but yeah, okay, I'll host this year for family gatherings. And God said, no, open your home. I'm like, okay. So yeah, maybe some family that I haven't invited in a while. God said, open your home. And then I reflected back to when I had gotten divorced. And with the whole custody, sometimes I had the kids on holidays and sometimes I didn't. There were times when I didn't have the kids and I was alone. And I just wanted, more than anything, just a place to witness families. And when God said, open my home, I went, I know some people that need a home. Like I needed a home. And I just started inviting people that I may have just met in passing, but I knew they had a similar situation. And God just kept on saying, open your home, open your home. And I'm like, okay. The most open I can be is I'm going to post it on social media.
Did you do that?
I did. I post it on every year. It's the best thing I've ever done. I just open up. I'm like, here's the rule of thumb for Easter and for Thanksgiving. If you don't have plans, you do now.
Oh,
I provide the stables for meals like this. For this Thanksgiving, I did a 24-pound turkey and a 12-pound ham, 2 pounds of green bean casserole, 8 pounds of smashed garlic potatoes.
Steve, I don't have a place to go for the next couple Thanksgivings and Easter.
You are invited. You were invited.
Joyce, he's a heck of a chef. He loves to cook.
So you did all this cooking.
I did all the. I love it. I love it. I love it.
that.
I love it. Yeah. And here's the thing I can tell everybody. I call them comfortable cobwebs. Everyone is so afraid of opening up their homes because they have to prepare. It's like, oh my God, I want people to see, I don't want them to think I live in this pigsty.
Right.
Here's the thing. When you're opening your home, the beauty of it is you're opening your heart, okay? And as Christians, or people just in general, we're dirty as can be.
Yeah.
That's why we seek God, is to get clean.
Yes.
So think about showing up in heaven and saying, give me a second, God. I'm going to look around to see if there's any cobwebs here, because I don't want to go in there if there's cobwebs.
Right.
My home's open. If cobwebs are your biggest problem, you don't have to come back.
I love that you said comfortable cobwebs.
Yeah.
Because that's what they are.
Right.
Because you know what? Listen, I think I'm relatively clean.
Right.
It's not. It's like,
your house a
just
few weeks ago was beautiful.
Forgive the dead bodies lying across the floor, but there's obviously within reason.
Joyce.
Yeah, exactly. So it was being on the show. That was how you got it. No,
Exactly.
He knows me now.
That's right.
So it's letting yourself go with the understanding that it's not about showing off your home. It's about opening your heart and vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Jesus built a lot of his ministry, over food. safe tables, right? Safe tables,
Oh.
food.
Oh.
It was all, with the disciples getting together to break bread and drink wine. And of course, the first time he performed that miracle, when he turned water into wine, was at a wedding. So many events were over food and conversation. You can learn a lot about people by the way they treat their wife, their kids at a table. Have them over for dinner. You can see the real person at that point. And that's what you're doing. And it's almost counterintuitive, because when I was a kid, you opened up your house a lot. People were able to come in. My friends would bang on the door. We let them in. And nowadays, we live in a cocoon culture. Ever since COVID, where people want to nuzzle in. I don't want anybody banging on my door. I don't want people coming over my house anymore. You don't talk to that stranger. They might be dangerous. And you're going on social media and inviting people you may have met just once at the store.
Yeah.
That takes a boldness, a courage, a trust.
It's 100% trust, and that's where it comes from surrendering to God. If you ever want to learn how to trust, surrender to God, and not just say it. I mean, challenge yourself. We were talking about earlier that surrendering comes in. It's a change of perspective. You have. It's not that the problems went away per se, or that it changed. It's not like my life, this person's nice to me now, or that person's, a decent person. Those outside or external things are still present. But when I surrender them to God, they're no longer my problem. And anything you surrender to God, I can guarantee you, the infinite God that I worship, it's not a problem for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like in that statement, it's saying surrendering to God, the problem disappears.
Is there anything too big for him? It's like I remember when Moses and they were in the desert, and a lot of the Israelites were complaining, and then Moses was talking to God, and then God said, Moses, 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 has my arm gotten shorter? That makes me laugh every time I hear that. I picture him just saying, has my arm gotten shorter? Is there anything I can't do? So it's not like, bless me, Father, not because of how good I am, but because of how great you are.
Right.
Tapping into his supernatural power and ability.
Yeah, it's about love.
Yeah.
It really is. I had the one question in my when I was, trying to really dedicate and surrender to God. My biggest fear became a reality, because you have to love God more than anyone else. God first. Now, especially going through a divorce and everything, your kids are the most important thing in your life. And I was telling God that he was the most important thing in my life. And then the question came, because I was talking with my son, and I'm trying to explain to him, trying to witness to him and explain to him that you got to put God first. God, you got to love God more than anyone. And my, at the time, 10-year-old son, or 11-year-old son looked at me and he goes, so Dad, are you saying you love God more than me? There was a fear that came over me at first. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And I'm like, I've got to tell him the truth. And it's like, what is the truth? And I just looked at him and I said, yes, I love God more than you. And he's like, oh, that's real nice, Dad. And I'm like, no. You got to understand something, buddy. Without his love, I would never know how to love you.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm like,
That's it.
I'm learning how to love like a father
Yes.
from the Father who loves.
Yes.
So now my son and my daughter have nothing to worry about,
Right.
because I'm protected from God and they're protected from their Father.
Yeah.
So it was such a powerful moment, and I remember those words distinctively, because I never knew what I was going to say until that moment, and God put those words in my mouth. Right. And now I can't forget them, and I want to tell them to everybody, because it was the most powerful, impactful moment of my faith.
That is so. It's.
I know.
It's
You want to
making
shout it from
me-
the mountaintop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we know that God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. And when you said that, I mean, that just, I think, resonates with a lot of us, that without having a strong faith, and we're talking about, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, it is to us, God, that allowed you to say that to your son, which was life-changing for both your children.
And horrifying in the natural.
Horrifying in the natural to say that, but then you got the right words after that to say, if I don't love God first, I don't have the knowledge of how to love you, you know, the way that you should be loved. And they got that, right? They understood that. Yeah. That's just like, wow. That's incredible. That's very deep.
Fast forward, my kids witness me every morning doing my devotional, reading the Bible. My son read the Bible for the first time this year.
Wow.
Gosh. Did he read the whole Bible?
Every day.
What are your kids' names?
Every day. Eric and Carla.
Eric and Carla.
And I mean, my daughter got baptized.
Wow.
And my son's just has this, he has this curiosity, but he has this discipline of reading the Bible. And it was like, I wanted it, but I couldn't ask of it. And God is so good. Yeah. That's why his plan is so much better. Little public service announcement: don't try it on your own. God's got you. Okay, you gotta surrender.
Yeah,
and surrender everything. Every once in a while, I do have to remind myself to surrender my mortgage payment over to God. I do. I have to say, like,
at least the worry of it.
Yes,
at least
the worry of it. Yeah,
because you know what? He's going to provide.
Yes,
or he's going to give the lesson that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Losing a home or losing something financially might be because you worshipped it.
You made it an idol.
And how do you know that you have to get rid of it until God says, no, I gave you a chance to work this out.
Yes.
I'm going to take it from you now because, you know, when you're a kid, okay, don't play with a hammer or run with scissors. You run with scissors, what happens?
Yeah.
Mom, Dad comes over and goes, I'm going to take these away from you.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that mean I could never cut cloth or paper or anything for the rest of my life? Not until I learn to respect those items.
Mm-hmm.
So he is our Father, and he's a disciplinarian.
Yeah. And I pray a lot. I mean, Father, teach me how to pray. Teach me how to become closer to you. Teach me when I drift during the course of the day, which we all do as humans, to focus back on you each and every day, realizing that the reason we worry is because we're trying to manifest outcomes. And God is the source of our income and outcome. We have to be good with it either way. If it's something that we don't like, say, Father, I don't know if I like this, but you know better than I do.
Right.
And surrender to him, like the song Surrender. I listen to the Styx song a lot, Show Me the Way. Yeah. And that gets me fired up every time I hear it, because I know it's a song in the secular, but it makes me think about God. It's got a very spiritual way. Show Me the Way by Styx or Show Me the Way by Peter Frampton. Yeah. They both have very spiritual undertones to them.
Yes.
And along with a lot of Christian music, which I love, of course.
Wow. So when you invite people over, do you pray for like protection of your home, or do you ask God to send the right people to you?
That's interesting. No. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's coming to me. It's a reason, because I don't have fear, because it came from God. God wouldn't have told me to open my home if he told me to fear it.
Right.
You know, I recently, heard about, there's that fear not is mentioned 365 times in the Bible.
One for every day.
Well, that's important, though. And you think about the significance of 365 is, listen, we need a daily reminder that if it's from God, you don't fear. It's why you need to surrender to him.
Right.
Because we're not supposed to fear.
And when Jesus said, do not be afraid, do not worry about tomorrow, that wasn't a suggestion. That's a commandment.
Right.
And we disobey that daily as humans.
One of the things with fear in the Bible, that was something that was very difficult for me, because I was like, why am I supposed to fear a God that is supposed to be for me and loving? And then this is where the translations are jumbled, because the same word for fear is also revere. So, but it's just a matter of the context of the phrase that the English translation, they put fear in there, but there's usually a subtext to saying it could be revere because it's the same
Right, because
word.
it's coming from the Greek or Hebrew.
Correct.
Yes, yeah.
Correct. So every time I see the word fear in the Bible now, when I'm doing my devotional time, I immediately, I almost intentionally first say revere because.
Oh, I love revere much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course. Now, I'll admit this. I had to look it up in the dictionary because I was so used to hearing fear. I'm like, revere.
Right.
Is that another word for fear? It's complete opposite.
That's why when I tell everybody that
It's like, oh my God.
that's why when I tell people that I really fear my wife,
Yeah.
it's actually, baby, I revere you. But even though she likes to hear the fear too. Now tell me, with the people you brought into your home,
Yes.
have some of these people become friends?
No.
No?
Family.
Family. I love it. That's even better. Good answer.
One of the best
It's a
things.
Hallmark movie.
One of the best things about when God put this on my heart and I opened up on Facebook was because people were saying, well, what do I bring? What do I bring? I want to bring something. And I would tell them, I'm like, first and foremost, bring yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't bring anything else, bring that.
Mm-hmm.
Next, bring a friend. Bring someone else that doesn't have it. But if there's a meal, a dessert, a side, something that reminds you of family gathering, of that holiday, of that Easter, something that made you go, when I bite into this, I go, it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
Bring it.
Yes.
Share it with us. Let us be a part of that family experience.
Yes.
And it's just multiplied. People that showed up one person one year, the next year they show up with 2 or 3. Or it's even more of a blessing. You know, there was some downsides, like people that used to come, they don't come, or they didn't come this year. And I was like, oh no, I hope everything's all right. But they talked about what they were doing, and other people wanted to experience that and do that themselves. So they invited them to their house. So it's like
The domino effect.
instead of people coming to my house, they're going to another friend that they haven't seen in many years, and they're expanding their family.
Oh,
And-
God used you for that. God
No,
used
no.
you for that. Yes.
God just
That is
it's-
beautiful.
And you always have plenty of food, right? If not, you can go get some more in
I-
the
you know what?
basement. Get some pasta, whatever.
lesson number 487,000. When you're hosting a big party with a lot of food and you don't have people going to show up and you cook enough to feed an army, buy to-go containers.
Yes. I
I-
like that. Yeah.
I make sure that I have enough for a sandwich in the morning or the next for lunch, but everything else has got to go. Desserts, everything. So I tell people, I don't care if you throw it in the garbage outside when you leave.
Mm.
Pack up enough food. Pack one for your neighbor.
Yes.
Put it.
Yeah.
I don't want this food here.
Right.
This year, I was supposed to have 30 people. And the morning of, 12 people couldn't make it. So I had a lot of food left over. And I ran out of to-go containers. There was so much to-go food. And I still had this big platter, big thing of the garlic smashed potatoes and green bean casserole and my
making me
mom's
hungry.
homemade stuffing. My mom, part of the tradition now, my mom comes up the night before. She stays over and she helps me break the
little bit of
bread,
family
cut
affair
up the
here.
Oh, that's so.
Now, what about your son and daughter? They participate?
Depending on the year. This year,
Yeah.
I did have them.
Oh, you
So
did?
I did.
Good.
So, it was, again, but now every holiday is a holiday.
Right.
It's not a holiday with my kids, it's a holiday without my kids, or what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. This is what I do. And whoever's there is there.
Boy, Merry Christmas, everyone. Do you hear this? This is the way to celebrate every holiday.
Yeah, this is the gentleman who encapsulates
I love
the beautiful
it.
feeling of Christmas.
Thank
And
you for
Steve,
sharing that.
thank you so much for all you do
you.
to help bless others.
You guys are
I mean,
amazing.
Hey, before anyone leaves, are you going to have some Christmas cookies? I made a whole thing of Christmas cookies here. Or are you so full?
I
You're gonna
believe
take
I've
some
been
home.
warned that you are an amazing
Well, yeah.
baker,
just
and
show some
so
of that.
okay, all right.
There's
So
my butter crunch, shortbread cookies. Some people call this
Yeah,
pecan sand.
get your hands off my
Okay,
cookies.
ready?
So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure hosting the next party with her cookies. So,
Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much
but-
for tuning in to What's Good with John and Joyce. Subscribe for free on YouTube or any other platform that you want to watch us and or listen to us on. We appreciate you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, we appreciate the fact you're celebrating with us. And lots of health, happiness, and we pray for your family all throughout this season that we love so much and beyond. And Steve, thank you so much for blessing us as well.
You blessed me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone. We love you.
Christmas.
We love you. Bye for now.
Hey, I heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Now it's time to book the DJ. And that's where we come in. I'm John Cadillac Seville with John Seville Entertainment, Wedding Wire, and the Knot 2026 Couples Choice Awards winner. You can call me directly if you like at 203-988-0658. We'll set up your free consultation. Or go to johncaddyman.com. That's 203-988-0658 or johncaddyman.com. We offer excellence, peace of mind, and a great time for all. John Seville Entertainment, a name you know and can trust.